Hey y'all, hey, it's another episode of Bonafide Her podcast featuring the one and only Miss Savannah Schoenherr.
That might be the best podcast intro I've ever had. I appreciate that. I love it.
Yay! Because I've always gotta hype up all my guests that come here because I'm like, yes, they're here.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. So
I love it. I love it. The energy is immaculate.
I like that word, immaculate. I haven't heard that word in so long.
It's been a minute, eh?
It's like the one of those exquisite words, like, this is very
Just
rare.
rolls off the tongue very nicely, you know?
Yes, you're absolutely right on that. How are you doing though?
I'm doing amazing, and I am so grateful that you asked me to be on your podcast. I'm so excited to get into all the topics that we have to discuss today.
Yes, and I love your hair. It's very like curly, wavy, just like flowy. So
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
let's get it started. So Miss Savannah, can you tell us how you got to where you are in your sports journey?
Definitely. So my sports journey was quite long. I started gymnastics at the age of 4, and ever since then, kind of fell in love with the sport. And that was my one and only sport that I did my entire life. I did gymnastics for 20 years. I trained elite gymnastics, which is the path that you would take to go the Olympic route and everything for those who are unfamiliar with the sport of gymnastics. But due to some injuries that just kind of like held me back along the way, I decided to just strictly focus on making it to college gymnastics. And so I originally was a part of the recruiting class that there was like kind of no rules around recruiting. And so I committed to Auburn when I was 13 years old. And then when I was 16, I ended up decommitting from Auburn and committed to the University of Florida, where I spent my first 5 years of college doing gymnastics there. I took my 5th year due to COVID and ended up getting injured. And so I therefore gained another year of eligibility and took a 6th year at LSU, where we won the national championship as well as the SEC championship. I am blessed to have been a part of 2 SEC championships at Florida as well as 5 years of regular season championships at Florida. So I've been a part of some really amazing teams with some incredible athletes and even more amazing women. So my sports journey was long but super fulfilling.
For sure. Like I didn't realize. I was like, because when I had met you, I was like, oh, so you were with Francesca. I was like, oh, that makes sense because she went to Florida, you went to Florida. I was like, oh, they know each other. And I was like, I was thinking to myself, and then like, we met because was that no, we met at AthleteCon, so that was it felt like a life of a party. It was like the start of the summer that just like with a bang. So
Yeah, for sure. That was so fun.
so my question for you is like, what would you say? What was the transition like going from like say Florida to LSU since they're like both of like a very powerful powerhouse schools when it comes to SEC, but also like in the gymnastics world?
Yeah, I'm definitely super grateful that I got to experience 2 incredible SEC schools. Um, it was a journey for sure because I mean I transferred from Florida obviously to LSU, which is arguably one of Florida's biggest rivals. Um, so that was a pretty bold move on my part for sure, but I knew that LSU was going to be where I was going to be my happiest self. I also had one of my lifelong friends that I did club gymnastics with that went to LSU, and so I had some pre-established connections already there as well. And knowing that I was only going to be there for a year, I knew that was going to help my process be a little bit smoother. But the transition going and getting to LSU was fairly seamless. Um, I think just being in college athletics for 5 years and kind of knowing what I want and my goals and everything, and being, like we talked about a little bit before hopping on the live part of this stream, being like the grandma of my team, really being one of the oldest. Um, there was one other 6th year who's a few months older than me, but we were both like, 23, still doing college sports. Um, but yeah, LSU and the people there really welcomed me in with open arms. And again, I knew what I needed to do for my team, and I tried to show up as the best version of myself every single day for myself, my new school, and all of my new teammates around me. And it all paid off. And we accomplished a team goal. And I think most of us can confidently say that was one of the best days of our life, was winning the national championship back in 2024. So yeah, just grateful for a super smooth transition and it being literally one of the greatest years of my life in sports.
What was that like winning a national championship year, especially like going against, you have other gymnastic powerhouses like UCLA, Oklahoma? Like, what was that like actually capturing that title?
It, like when I said like it was one of the best days of my life, for me it was the best day of my life. I always joked with so many of my friends afterwards. I'm like, I don't think like my wedding day will top that. I don't think like it was just it is the most fulfilling thing I have ever experienced, to work 20 years of my life dedicated to one sport, to have given up and sacrificed so much, and to have wanted to quit so many times, to face so many injuries and so much adversity, and for all of that to pay off in one moment, and to get to share that with so many, like I said earlier, incredible women, um, and amazing athletes, was literally just a dream come true. And it's like every time I rewatch the national championship meet, I get goosebumps. I get tears in my eyes. There's not really a time that I don't get emotional talking about it, even a year and a half later. And I know it's still like kind of fresh in the grand scheme of life. Like it's only been a little over a year, but I really don't think it'll ever be a non-emotional topic. Like it's something that as an athlete you work your whole life to accomplish. Um, and especially for gymnastics, in our college careers is typically the end of our careers. And so there's not really like pro gymnastics yet, at least. And so like that's the end of our careers. And so especially that being my last meet ever, whether we lost or won, going out on the highest stage, winning it, is just again the most fulfilling feeling. And yeah, it's really hard to fully articulate, but again, just like a dream come true.
I know that's right. Like especially 20 years, like you said, you worked hard on and sacrificed and all put all your effort and time in, and just hitting the big stage and just capturing this. Like, because I saw the pictures, I was like, I know that has to be the most amazing feeling. Like, I know there was had to be like a lot of content and everything that had to be made during that time.
Hmm.
Like, what was that sound that kind of like, they thought, they asked, how does it feel to win, to lose? And you're like, I guess we wouldn't
I
know.
guess I'll never know. I literally made that TikTok right afterwards with our like little national championship trophies.
I was like, because I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, man, I was like, I guess we'll never know. Like,
Yeah,
it's like, we'll never know because I wouldn't know because, like, we all,
literally. And it's funny because like that TikTok sound, yeah, it's pretty common when especially people in sports like win a championship or something. But I know what it's like to lose. Like I've been a part of losing teams. I've been a part of teams that never made nationals. I've been a part of teams that got second place and came so close to winning. And so I think knowing those feelings of like seeing another team get to celebrate your dream, and then in your fine and like for me my final year, me being the one to celebrate my dream with the people that I love the most, like that just meant even more.
for sure. And speaking of which, because, like, with that, like, gymnastics, especially like with the NIL, like the LSU gymnastics was big money. I think it was like top billing with NIL and social media presence. So how did that, come about for you? Like how impactful was it for you to like be part of that? Like just you utilizing your name, image, and likeness, but also seeing the your social media like presence being increased in viewership and everything.
I think LSU definitely, like you said, has a brand for itself and is really known as being kind of like the powerhouse for NIL. It really dove headfirst as soon as July 1st, 2021, I think it was, came around. Um, Yeah, it was cool to be a part of that and to see so many of my teammates and so many fellow athletes at LSU reap the benefits of NIL. And a big part of that being because of the brand LSU. But I think that NIL is really just what you make it. And so it's like if you're putting yourself out there and you are using the brand that you have, no matter like where you are, whether it's your sport or your school, or whatever it might be, like that's still a brand that you have to build for yourself. Like I'm not LSU. I went to LSU, but I'm still Sav and I build my brand around Sav. And yes, of course, I'm wearing the LSU leotard and I'm representing those three letters and representing them to the best of my ability and with pride and dignity. But again, my goal was to build my social media presence and my brand around myself and what I believed, and just remaining really authentic to my own lifestyle. And LSU just happened to be the colors and the letters that I was wearing.
For sure. Because, and this leads to my question too. Like I said, we met at Athlete Con, and I was like, dang, we met at the last day. I was like, because everybody was going, like, everybody was meeting everybody, and like, and it was great. Like, even your team, which was, this surprised me because I was like, you had your teammate came, um, Livy, and I was like, who? I was like, I saw a whole people, bunch of line, like, who is this girl? Why she look so familiar? And they're like, oh, that's Livy Dunn. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
well, but my question for you is, is like, how impactful was it for you to be part of like the athletes that got a chance to go to AthleteCon, and like what were some of the things that you took away that you saw yourself kind of implementing to you as a person as well as your brand?
So when NIL like first became a thing, I have always really had a passion for content creation and social media since before NIL even happened. I've always loved making videos, even from a young age and everything like that. And so, like I said, when NIL came around, I really like dove headfirst into content creation and working with brands and building my brand and everything. And so I really educated myself and tried to just surround myself with experts in the space or people that were becoming experts in the space. I know it's kind of hard to be an expert when something first happens. Um, but really just learning as much as I could around NIL. And so I went to the NIL summit in 2023 and 2024, and then I went to AthleteCon in 2024, and then like you said, this past year in 2025. Um, and so I've been educating myself around the NIL space for quite some time, and so I like to think that I possess a lot of knowledge around it and around brand building. And of course, there's always more that I can learn and more to know and more ways to grow. Um, but going to AthleteCon this past year was more for an opportunity to connect with brands, because now that I'm more disconnected from the athletic or the athlete side of things, since I've been out of my sport for a year and a half now, I'm building my brand more around like my lifestyle as a former collegiate athlete and building it. More through different avenues of just like health and lifestyle in my life now. And yes, of course, college gymnastics will always be a part of that. But I'm just really focused on like the present era of my life. And so just viewing the takeaways from AthleteCon in a new light of how can I use this stuff to apply it in my life now and not necessarily as an athlete. And so I think that the things that were spoken about at AthleteCon were amazing and so many tangible takeaways. Like I said, for so many athletes to be able to use in their sport and to build their brand around their sport. And I think it is the greatest idea to build that brand while you're in that niche of college athletics. But it's also important to establish your content around you as well, because you're not always going to have college athletics. And so, just again, seeing all of that information and really trying to change my perspective of, okay, how can I apply this to life outside of sports? So it was really good. And I am grateful that I got to meet so many great brands and people from all over the place. And it was just a really cool opportunity.
For sure, cause girl, I had to get you on here. I was like, please, like, I need you to go on here. Like, I know, like, I was like, I had to get you and Francesca gone. Like, please, could you, like, please, cause I know you're like, cause I was like, I always tell, like, I was like, I will work around your schedule, cause I know everything is busy and everything. So I was
Yeah, for sure.
like, I was like, I gotta have her. She's so adorable. She's not only adorable, she's beautiful. I can tell she's a beautiful person inside out, and she's just like so welcoming. I was like,
Thank you. That's so sweet. I appreciate that. I'm glad that I give off that aura of energy.
Of course, and girl, when I tell you, I was like, oh my gosh, I felt like I was like, man, the fact that both you and Francesca bought my book on the day we met, like the last, I was like, oh my god, is this real? I was like, because it was crazy. Because I was telling
Yeah.
you, I was like, it was crazy because I was thinking to myself, and I think I told her, I was like, you like, it's so interesting how like strangers be like supporting you the most versus like the people that you've known for a long time. You'll see like people being your biggest strangers being your biggest fan when it comes to like say your business and stuff versus like the people that say that have seen you grow and known and they expect like I'm like, man, this is so interesting. It's like, how is this happening?
Yeah. That's a really interesting concept for sure. I would be interested to learn more about why it's like that.
Cause it's like, man, like you would, it's like you would think the people that you've known or surround yourself with is like they would know like how much hard work that you put in, and then like actually like support you and stuff. And then it's like, huh, like, but my question for you is, what was, you like, you just got done with college athletics for you, like what was the transition out like for you from the college athletics to like the real world? Like what was that transition like for you?
It was hard, I'm not gonna lie. I think I was very privileged to have 2 extra years of eligibility and to kind of prepare myself a little bit more. I think that when you're a senior and you're 20, 21 years old and, you're like, "Oh my gosh, like, what's next?" I kind of had that for 3 years in a row. So I was 2021, 23, and then, like, turning 24, it's like I I had so many years to prepare and still nothing could prepare me. And I think that everyone's journey coming out of college athletics is a little bit different, but yeah, it was definitely a struggle for me, and I think as athletes we're taught so much not to put our identity into our sport, but when that is what you have devoted your entire life to, and that is essentially the reason that you're at the college that you're at, for most of us anyway, is because of your sport. Not saying that education and social life and all of the other aspects that come along with the college experience aren't important. But like I went to Florida for gymnastics and everything else was a perk. I went to LSU for gymnastics and everything else was a perk. Um, and so it's hard, no matter how much we're taught not to put our identity into sport. It's hard not to do it. Um, and yeah, it's like coming out of gymnastics, I was like, well, what am I working for now? And I really struggled finding a new purpose in life. And I feel like the past few months I've really come to grow more in myself and my identity and just figuring out who I really am without gymnastics. And it's been a really cool realization to have. But yeah, it's not an easy transition. But like, if I were to give advice to anybody else that's currently going through it, I would just say to embrace the struggle, embrace the hard. It's not easy, but also just trust that it's going to get better and just keep working and finding a purpose and in life outside of sports. And it will come eventually, even if it takes some time.
Girl, I was gonna just ask that question. You answered it right away. I was like, like she saved me from asking. Like she hit the nail for sure. Because a lot of people don't. Because a lot of people don't understand, like what athletes have to go through when it comes to like what they're known for and everything, and then trying to figure out like who they are outside of their sport. Like it's
Mhm.
not, like you said, like a lot of athletes have consumed their identity into their sport. So sometimes that like, who am I without my sport? Like I know for a while, especially when COVID hit, everything got shut down. So like a lot of people couldn't get in contact with other people or do a lot of things. So I feel like that was say in a way, and I could be wrong. Like that way, it was in a way like had a lot of athletes questioning who are they without their sport because like that's what they know, that's what they connected with people and like being quarantined and being in the closed like house and everything can't do nothing. So I mean if correct me if I'm wrong if that was you know so but
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%.
So my question for you is, I always say that athletes are humans first because they are. Like, and my question for you is, when it as an athlete and a woman, how important is mental health?
The most important. I think that mental health is very often overlooked, not just in sports but in life. Um, but yeah, it's so easy to get tied up in the pressures and having to perform every single day for your sport and taking care of your body physically, but kind of neglecting the mental aspect of it. And that was a part of my story as well. Like I really struggled mentally at times. Have been around a lot of people who have struggled with their mental health because of their sport. Um, and I think that it's becoming more prevalent and it's definitely getting talked about more. And I love that there's been more awareness brought to the mental health of athletes. But yeah, it definitely still has a long way to go. And there are many things that still need to be addressed and things that need to be learned and practices that need to be implemented. Um, but yeah, it is definitely something that can either make or break an athlete. And I think that there needs to definitely be more emphasis placed on mental health because without that, you're not performing in your sport or in life for that matter. And it's hard to show up for yourself, yet alone your team and your teammates and your coaches. And so, yeah, I love when people are able to share their stories regarding mental health and reminding other athletes that they're not alone. And people like you who are bringing more awareness to the topic and just giving people a safe space to talk about it and to understand the importance of it.
Because I just feel like for me, and I wanted to ask you this: what are some ways that people can bring more light to it, as in where it's more prevalent and where they can be able to implement more practices to where they actually take an athlete's mental health seriously? Because the ways that we shouldn't have to hear almost every other month or every other day where somebody is either disappearing or just dying out of nowhere.
Yeah, I think it's almost like a top down issue. I think that more schools, universities, organizations, the NCAA um, needs to implement more resources for student athletes. It's like so many schools, at least I know from my experience, I can't speak for the smaller schools, but schools like Florida and LSU have resources where they have mental health professionals on campus. And from the very first day of, team meetings and stuff, those numbers are given. It's like if you need something, if you have mental health issues, if there is anything that comes up that you need to talk to a professional about, here's this number. So it's like those resources are given, but I think that there also needs to be like tangible practices that athletes can do to take care of themselves because so many people struggle to reach out and to ask for help. I know that I did for a long time. I think that just comes from being hard headed and wanting to be self sufficient, figuring everything out on my own. Um, and I know a lot of athletes can be like that. We're very independent and it can be a good thing and also a bad thing at times. And so I think just implementing daily practices to practice more self care and finding ways to take care of yourself on the daily. And yes, of course, things like nutrition, exercise, sleep are all important, but just giving athletes the time and the outlets and the resources to practice self care, such as like journaling, gratitude, team bonding, things that are going to bring the team together and just form connections because obviously human connectivity is essential and can play a huge part in the physical and mental well being of humans, um, but those athletes as well. So I'd say those would be the biggest things in my opinion.
For sure. Because I wanted to ask that because I was like, man, because I just think, like you said, I just think, like, you always see those posts where, like, we are saddened to hear and all this stuff. If you meet, I was like, it is very sad. And it's really, really sad. And I feel like if people, like, get an better understanding, like, how important the athlete and their mental health is, it's like, and actually see them as humans instead of, like, say, hey, like, the part they see them as, some people see athletes as parlays or put them up on a pedestal where like they are treated like gods and stuff. And it's like, but what happened if they make a mistake? Do you still view them as that? Are you gonna like, or are you gonna be like turn on them and turn against them? It's like you can't do that because it's like they are somebody's child, they're somebody's daughter, son, or anything. So I think you made a huge great point. I think people really need to implement everything about it. So my question for you is, when it comes to representation in women's sports, how important is it, especially whether you're being looked at as a role model for the younger generation or even the older generation?
So important. And I love seeing women's sports continuously grow and climb the charts, um, and consistently gaining more viewership and more recognition that they deserve, that we deserve. And it's crucial, it's crucial to see the icons and legends before us who paved the way, see that their differences are, coming to life in sports today, and we wouldn't be there without them. And it's also creating a path for the younger generation to pursue their dreams and see that things are possible, and see that just because you're a woman or a girl does not limit you and actually is empowering. Um, and yeah, I think it's just creating more avenues for girls to pursue that career in sports. Um, and it's like you see different campaigns and different ads of like run like a girl or play like a girl or stuff like that, and it's like an adverse idea to what kind of like I grew up with, of like, oh, you do this like a girl. It's like that would be an insult, but now that's seen as like a strength. And when you're like, these ads are coming out and they're saying like play like a girl, run like a girl, like those are shifting the idea and the mentality around girls in sports, and it's meant to be more of an empowering thing. And like girls are strong too. Girls can do anything they set their minds to. Girls can accomplish just as much as a boy can. And women's sports deserve to be seen just as much as a man's sport does. And so yeah, representation in women's sports is incredibly important, and I will continue to advocate for all of my women in sport and hopefully make some type of difference, but at least just be part of the difference that is definitely becoming more and more evident.
Woo! Yes, ma'am. You know what's crazy? People used to like utilize, dang, you throw like a girl, you run like a girl, and they used to, back when I was growing up, they used to say it as an insult, and I'm like, why would you say that? But now, like you said, it has turned into like a positive thing. Like it's okay to be like a girl instead of like to run like a girl. Like especially for women, because it's like, because let me tell y'all something. When it comes to media day, and I know you could attest to this, when it comes to women's sports media days, the off the charts, like glam it up,
Yeah.
everything is like beauty off the court or off the field or off the beam, but a beast on it.
100%. 100%. Yeah. And I think it's so cool to see women embrace their femininity and embrace the things that they love to do as a woman, but still be badass at their sport. And I think that is the coolest thing because it's so much balance. It's so empowering. It's showing that, especially in a sport like gymnastics, like you can get all dolled up and be pretty, but you still have calluses like a construction worker on your hand. You have like you're bleeding, you have rips, your ankles are taped together, your shoulder is taped together by like hanging on by a thread, and you have like sparkly bows and a beautiful leotard on, but you are still badass and doing what hardly any of the rest of the population can do. And I think that is incredibly empowering.
For sure, because like the media day, like you said, dolled up, and then when it comes to it's match time, like like y'all make it like where being strong is beautiful, like with the muscles, the calf, like you said, the calluses, like just basically just demonstrating like all the hard work y'all put in behind the scenes has implemented to where you know we are just badasses. Like
Yeah.
I haven't heard that word or phrase in a long time. I was like, yes, Savannah. Yes. I was like,
It's true.
yes.
It's true. Women in sport are badass. Women in general are badass, but Yeah, something about a female athlete.
We just make it just like just we just make it just dress it up and make it real for y'all. But
100%.
so
100%.
my
I love it.
question for you is, how would you describe your journey?
Um, very non-traditional. Um, I think traditional in some ways when it comes to the sport of gymnastics, but non-traditional for maybe a lot of other sports. Um, I, like I said, started gymnastics when I was 4, and when I started taking it more serious, I actually moved away from my dad and my brother, and my mom and I moved up north. I'm from Georgia. We moved to Maryland so that I could pursue my Olympic dreams. And so my family made a lot of sacrifices for me. My parents remained married. Um, and I grew up apart from my family, and again, just a very non-traditional way, but it allowed me to accomplish so much in my sport, and I am forever indebted to my family for making those sacrifices for me. um, I know the older I've gotten, the more I've realized how big of a life decision that is, and at the time it just seemed so normal to my 10-year-old self to move away to pursue your athletic dream. um, but yeah, in my almost 25 years now, I'm like, that's a lot for a parent to do for their kid. um, and it definitely made my journey more unique, but also landed me places that I am forever grateful to have been, and have accomplished a lot of really cool things alongside a lot of really great people.
Ooh, I would have never guessed from Georgia, like from you. So you got the best of both worlds, from the south to the north, from Georgia
Mm,
to the DMV, the Maryland area. It's like, oh,
yeah, yeah, I got a little taste of it all, and especially traveling around so much with gymnastics, it was truly a blessing. I definitely got to see a lot in my childhood and early adolescence, so very grateful for all of those experiences for sure. Gymnastics is a very it's pretty niche, unlike a lot of the more traditional sports like basketball, soccer, softball. Um, but yeah, it allowed for a lot of really cool opportunities and experiences.
so my question for you is like, because it seems like it's a tight knit community. Would you say like gymnastics is a tight knit community where everybody is able to connect with others, especially in the college world?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, there's only, don't quote me, I could totally be wrong in this, but I want to say there's only like 68, maybe, or maybe 82. I don't know, somewhere between that number of D1 collegiate gymnastics programs. So significantly less than a lot of, again, the other traditional women's sports, or male sports in that sense. But um, yeah, it's definitely a very niche, tight knit community. There's a lot of connections in the gymnastics world. I think everyone that you meet knows somebody that you know, especially traveling so much growing up and being a part of different teams. And there's like different regions in the United States for gymnastics. And so just getting to know different people from your region, and then potentially ending up in college or the same conference when you go to college. There's just endless connections, endless invisible strings. And again, just like everybody knows somebody in some capacity, and it's really cool. And again, the older I've gotten, the more I've realized how important connections are. So it's really cool to be able to utilize those connections in terms of pursuing careers and just connecting with people and networking with people and building relationships and stuff, and just see people grow through the sport.
Girl, don't we love a tight knit community, especially
We love
like you know each other and then like connect with one another and like, hey, but like, oh my gosh, we just seen each other, but like creating content because it's like you can build each other up. And
it.
it's like
Yeah.
I was like, cause girl, I think I like there would be a great content idea for you, especially like, have you thought about like talking about like life after like gymnastics, or like kind of like explain your journey and how like in a way non-traditional? Because girl, when I tell you on TikTok, people will pause, eat it up, like just make just like will like retweet or repost it because I repost all. Let me tell you something. When it comes to female athletes, I repost anything that's female athletes. Like,
I
yes,
love
yes.
it.
Especially like the trend of the uniforms on and then uniforms off trend.
Yeah.
Yes. Like,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
those are awesome. Those are awesome. I love it.
So
Yeah,
my
that would be a really good content idea. I appreciate that. I'm gonna have to write that down and keep that in mind for future TikTok ideas.
oh, here's the thing. That is the thing. Like I always like, and when especially at AthleteCon, like I'm like, you know what? I was like, have y'all thought about like? Because I was like, I remember there was the one. If you know you're just that girl, then you know you're just that girl. And I feel like I'm that girl. And it was Meg Thee Stallion one. And I sent it to I had told Spirit and a night. I was like, have y'all thought about doing this? Cause y'all like cause and it was at the whole rooftop party thing. And I was like, and they're like, that would be great. I was like, yeah, I was just like giving like different
Yeah,
ideas. Like, cause I was like, when I see like people like I'm like, this sound would be great for them. I'm like,
yeah,
have you thought about it? Just
yeah. That's
I'm like,
awesome. Full of great ideas, and I love that you share them too. That's awesome.
because I always want to see people win. That's the thing. And I always like,
Yeah,
and I always want to see like, especially all the athletes like get their bread, get utilize their brand, monetize it. But like, look, I'm that girl, I'm that guy, just I am that one. So it's like
hmm,
let them know, like just it's like for me, iron sharpens iron. It's like I see something. It's like if you see something potential like that could help somebody, and like I'm like, yeah, just like I just like it was just an idea. So if y'all want
yeah, yeah. 100%. I love that.
so my question for you is, so Bonafide means authentic. Oh, Lord have mercy, that was a blooper moment because I was like, ooh. Uh, and this podcast is raw, real, so there'll be blooper moments, and
I
so
love it. That authenticity, like the bloopers are authentic.
I wish people would utilize it. Like I get it, people like to cut it and be like, look, this is how it is. This is just me. So
Yeah,
this is just
100%.
me. So my question for you is, and I always ask my guests this question. So bonafide means authentic and unique. So what makes Miss Savannah Schoenherr bonafide, and what makes your story stands out?
I think that I've always stayed true to myself. Um, I've always really embraced the idea of authenticity, and that's always actually been my message for the past several years. Um, just inspiring people to be their true selves and show up as them every day, no matter what. Um, I would rather be disliked for who I am than liked for who I'm not. And so I really just believe in showing up as the truest version of you every single day in every single way, no matter what way, shape, or form it might be, whether you had 30% to give that day or 110% to give that day, always give 100% of what you have. Um, and yeah, I'm the firmest believer in authenticity and really happy to be able to share that message with others. Um, yeah, I'd say just embracing who you are outside of your sport and holding on and finding that identity. For me, like I said, was kind of hard, but I really tried to stay true to that while I was in sport and did things that brought me joy and was intentional about sharing things outside of my life that was true to Sav. And I wanted to be known as just Sav, not Sav the gymnast or Sav who's at Florida or Sav who does the flips. Like I wanted to be known for me, what made me happy, who I love, what I love. Um, and yeah, just everything that makes me me and all of those unique aspects that set me apart.
Yes, girl. Just sad. It's like I just want to be known as that. And you said it so perfectly. I'm like, yes, yes.
Yeah, that's all we got. Like we are stuck with ourselves at the end of the day, so you might as well love yourself and allow the right people to love you. And I think that we can only do that through true authenticity. So I love that that's what this podcast represents. It's extremely empowering and just yeah, just really helping a lot of people for sure. Begin to if they haven't already and remember to continue showing up as them.
Period. It's like if you appreciate me already, you know, before the world is catching up, thank you. Like,
Of course, I do appreciate you. This is awesome.
you know that I would say that, but it's I just seen that thing. I was like, you know what? Yes, before the world catches on. If you appreciate me before the world catches on, yes, thank
Yeah,
you.
I love that. It's like finding a really niche artist and then they make it like really big one day and you're like, I knew them before. Like I've been about that. I've known them before the rest of the world caught on. Like you are loyal to that and you believed in them because it's what you believed, not because it was what everyone else believed.
Big facts. Cause like you just caught up on the hype train when it's like they've been out, but it's okay. I understand. Like, you
Right.
know, you gonna learn today. It's okay.
Mhm.
It's okay. We all have our moments. It happens. But you know.
100%. For sure. For sure.
So, Miss Savannah, can you tell the viewers how where they can find and support you?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram and TikTok mostly at sav, SAV.FS. And that is my link to both of them.
Y'all heard it from the queen here first. Y'all be sure to follow her on Instagram and TikTok at sav.fs.
Yep, that's it.
Oh yes! I had to make sure I
Like a pro, like a pro.
and it's SAV dots FS, y'all. SAV dots FS.
That's the one.
So y'all be sure to follow the queen herself. And big shout out to Miss Savannah for coming on the podcast to share your story. And be sure to check out the live replay of Bonafide, her podcast, episode 153, featuring Savannah Schoenherr. Y'all could be sure to check out the live replay after this. Thank you guys for tuning in. Peace.